What has impressed the most about Jonathan Smith's start here at Michigan State? And what is the Spartan ceiling for 2024 anyway? No, it's not just me, the MSU Homer, talking about it. We have Craig Sheeman of Locked On Big Ten here to talk about it. Let's go.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans, your team in green and white 5 days a week. We got a Locked On Network family member here on the show today. It is Craig Sheeman, does incredible work for Locked On Big Ten. And yes, we're going to jump around the rest of the conference here later on in the show. But right now, we're going to keep things in East Lansing. But before I throw him on the hot seat, Craig, how on earth are you doing? Or are we doing okay over there in your neck of the woods?
I'm doing okay. I was going to ask you what your temperature is. We're about 1,000 miles apart. It's a chilly 64 degrees, but how are you guys up there in Michigan?
Balmy 44 degrees up here. So yeah, we got the shorts on, the t-shirt on. I got the sunglasses on today on my commute to work. It was weird, but it was nice. Yeah, no.
Spring is coming. So
not too shabby. Oh, please. Oh God, just please get here. And that means March Madness is coming. And hey, more importantly, football season inches closer to us here, Craig. So spring is definitely welcome.
Funny with March Madness, I was talking with somebody today, and it's really late this year. Like we're going to have more. It's like the April aberration instead of March Madness, right?
100%. Yes. My wife's birthday runs right in the middle of March, and we always have to schedule things around it. She loves it when she has to schedule around Michigan State tournament games. Oh, her favorite thing to do in the world, but we've dodged it this year. So if not for nothing else, at least that's one thing I can cheer about this March Madness. We'll see how everything else unfolds when the tournament actually comes. But yeah, it is. It's like bleeding into May, it feels like. So we'll take it. Craig, we are here to celebrate Jonathan Smith, something that we've been doing all the time on Locked On Spartans here. We are blowing so much sunshine up this guy's butt. He's probably tooting clouds, man. But hey, that's just me. Michigan State brass, Michigan State fan. It's nice to have an outside voice, but someone still close enough to all the programs in the Big Ten like you are. So 2 months in, what has impressed you the most about Jonathan Smith's start here at Michigan State?
The first thing I noticed is this guy, I think he left the job interview and started working, right? Yeah. I mean, he didn't have to worry about playoffs or any of that stuff. Season's over. He got in the car, and I think he met every high school football coach from Mackinac to Kalamazoo and made that connection. And that's going to help out with recruiting, dealt with the transfer portal. And by the way, when I knew I was coming on with you, I looked at just to update the list of the transfer portal, both in and out for Michigan State. And it's like this long. It's unbelievable, the amount of movement, both back and forth. And the fact that he got Aiden Childs to agree to come to follow him at Michigan State. Again, speaking of winter again, I don't know if he's aware of what winter is like there, but he'll find out soon enough.
Correct.
And so you got a coach and you got a quarterback. That's the first part. And, you stop the bleeding with the transfer portal either way. But yeah, you hit the high school kids right away. And, I don't know if that'll pay dividends. You won't see that maybe for a couple of years, but on the football field. But you asked me how I've been impressed. That's the first thing I noticed about this guy. He got after it. And I think it's an impossible job. If you're taking over a bad football team right after the season's over, end of November, beginning of December, and everything that's going on, just all college football as a whole, they've got to change their calendar and be more crazy. Like the NFL, where it has something every month for 12 months. No, college football, we just do it all in December. We make coaching changes. We have early signing day. We've got the transfer portal. If you're any good, you got to deal with a bowl game. Let's see the family a little bit for Christmas. It's impossible. No wonder nobody wants to coach in college football. You got head coaches leaving for coordinator jobs in the NFL now, and I think that's a trend that's going to continue, by the way.
I got to say, like when Jeff Hafley did it, or Hafley, sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, when he left Boston College, which is very relevant to Michigan State because we play the Eagles here coming up. I do look at that and I'm like, no, I'd probably do the same. Like, yeah, sure, I'm taking a few $1 million of a pay cut, but I'm also saving probably a decade on the tail end of my life just with mental sanity. I don't blame him. Like Chip Kelly, yeah, he's trying to flee UCLA. Like he's standing outside in front of his stadium holding up a sign that says, please hire me. I'll do it for food. It's like, yeah, I get it.
Don't worry. We're about ready to start something big at UCLA. We're going to the Big Ten. Chip Kelly's dying not to be here for week 1. Absolutely dying.
No, it is a carnival here in college football. But, hey, games still have to be played here. And this is one thing that we just get really siloed with over here when I have Michigan State guests on, when I just talk about Michigan State myself, is that we're high on the Spartans next year. And when I say high, I don't mean like playoff immediately. 11-1, we're going to barnstorm it, Craig. Like, no, I mean like 7-5, which is a steep improvement from where we've been the last 2 years. The schedule's gettable. There have been good offseason moves made in the transfer portal, whether it's taking kids from other programs like Aiden Childs or keeping some of the best kids at Michigan State. So that's why I see 7-5. But every once in a while, we'll get the national person on, and they'll say, oh, we'll struggle, which is healthy for us to hear from outside perspectives, I hear. It's not Michigan State fans' favorite thing all the time, but the fact of the matter is their over-under is going to be somewhere around 5 when the Vegas line opens. So, Craig, after I'm done rambling there, what is Michigan State's ceiling? What do you see for the Spartans in the fall?
Can I split the difference between the bookies and you and put it at 6-6?
Please.
I mean, actually, I think it's very respectable if you could do that.
Yeah.
Look, it's a tall task. There's a lot of work to be done. It is so hard to flip the switch from your first year. Like I'm just looking back at what Dion did at Colorado. Like there was all the hype, right? Like he switched his entire team. Came out, won that first game against TCU, and everybody's like, oh, this is, and then, kind of a diminishing returns as the season went on. It's hard. And the Big Ten, it's hard, and it just got harder. I mean, Oregon is going to be a national player. USC won't be able to stop anybody, but they'll probably win some games with that offense.
Right.
Washington still has most of its offensive line coming back. So I think middle tier teams, I call them middle tier. Once you get past Michigan, Ohio State, and throw in a Penn State and an Oregon and whoever. Yeah. Once you get to the middle tour, that's going to be tough. I mean, Michigan State can probably be in the upper echelon of the next tier. I think that's a goal for UCLA, a realistic goal. Look, I'm an Indiana grad. I don't know how we're going to survive in the Big Ten. We're going to be down we're going to be what I used to think of Northwestern back in the day, and they just had the coach of the year. So that's where you got to make your living, in the middle tier, and just get to bowl games. And maybe every 4 years you pop up a big number. But I'll do a long answer to your short question. I'll go 6-6 and just play it politically correct right now. But honestly, I think that's a good target.
I don't hate 6-6. I can't speak for every Michigan State fan, but I would take 6-6 and a trip to the Las Vegas Bowl as if it's a trip to Pasadena right now, or down to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. It can't be like this forever. Like this could be a 1 year thing where we're smiling over 6-6, but just based on where we have been. Well, the last few years, I just want a bowl t-shirt.
Mel Tucker first got fired, and there were all the rumors that Urban Meyer's talking to people in East Lansing. Now everybody had them winning 12 games, so
fun times.
Maybe somewhere in between.
You mean the glory days of our coaching search talk? God, you wanted to stoke some flames in the fan base, for better or for worse. Wow.
I got a few clicks talking about that myself. Yeah, I hear you.
Quite the time capsule. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Big Ten. The conversations they're having with the SEC, does it even matter? And then, hey, who else is having the best and worst off seasons in the Big Ten? But Craig, I hate to do this to you. I got to send you to the bench because I need to talk to people's ears off about FanDuel Sportsbook, the number one sportsbook in America, as we are heading into Super Bowl weekend. And on that note, happy Super Bowl to all those who celebrate from FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. I get it. Commercials are fun. The camaraderie is fun. Yeah, the game itself is kind of cool, but for me, it's all about the wagering, and I get that done at FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook. Another bet that I have my eye on from FanDuel: fastest offensive ball carrier recorded. That's right. We're using next-gen stats. Who will be the fastest guy in the game? Deebo Samuel, he's the favorite at plus 590. Isaiah Pacheco, plus 680. But hey, Ray McLeod, should he get a nice return, plus 1120. Gotta like the odds on that. Plenty more bets at FanDuel. Do not just sit there and, you could bet who's going to win. over under. There are so many props to make it even more fun than that. FanDuel has got it all for you. New customers gets even sweeter. Join today and you will get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And let's get the one, the only Craig Sheeman back onto the show here. Locked on Big Ten. Because, hey, sometimes it's nice to just broaden your horizons outside of only East Lansing. And we're not just going to the rest of the Big Ten here now, Craig, because Alliance 2.0 with the SEC going on, the Big Ten, they're getting cozy to the SEC. But over here, on my end, I don't know if I'm in the minority, but after a few years ago when they made this alliance with a few other conferences and all that turned into as a punchline, I don't know if I should be taking this seriously or not. Craig, you're smarter than I am. Is this actually important for future conference realignment talks?
I'm not smarter than you, but I did do a podcast on this last week, as a matter of fact, because I think it's a big deal. But first, I was sitting here thinking while you were running your commercial, you and I have both put some effort into our sets here, and they're 180 degrees different. Yours is very cool. You got like a green nightclub glow to you.
Yes.
I'm on the sun. I got lights all over the place, but it's very colorful. I like it. I like it a lot.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Regarding this, I think this is a big deal. I think this is the first step to the super conferences. I'm glad we're into Big Ten because it's going to come down to the Big Ten and the SEC, and that's it. Kind of like AFC, NFC, or maybe it'll be 320 team leagues if the Big 12 survives. I'm absolutely convinced the ACC is going to blow up. We've already seen the Pac-12 blow up. In fact, I've been calling the Power 5 the Power 4 for about 6 months now. I'm just now starting to see it in writing when I read other articles about it. So it's happening. And I think this is another first step. I think everybody is so frustrated with the NCAA. They've done nothing for years. They go after you on ticky-tack stuff. They put their head in the sand on nil. They put their head in the sand on transfer portal. Now we got different rules. Kids play in the state of California, have state laws that are different from kids in North Carolina and Florida and everywhere else. And it's a mess. The NCAA will be completely insignificant when it comes to football. Football will run itself, and the two biggest conferences are going to run everything. I'm absolutely convinced of it. So they can act like this is kind of like an exploratory committee, but these are the first pieces, I think, of some sort of super alliance, super conferences, whatever you want to call it. And the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be golden running the show. That's what I think. Do you agree or disagree?
No, it all makes sense because, I mean, we have had the conversations with just ourselves, with our guests, that eventually this will be a 36-team super conference or 40 or 40, whatever that number is going to settle on. It just seems inevitable, especially with all, just like you said, the extracurricular ticky-tacky stuck where the NCAA just sits on their hands all the time and then only does stuff with just like the most inane stories that you could possibly think of. So I got to say, I give NCAA credit for lasting this long with all the shenanigans that they did or did not do. Like that, what a run of just doing nothing that they were able to survive. But the road is coming to an end, and I'm going to put you on the hot seat here. Like, what's your guess as far as timeline goes for when we finally do see the mega conferences? Is it 2025? Is it 35? Like, because that's what I have no idea with, is how long that this could take before we reach the inevitable.
Whatever number I tell you, cut it in half, because this thing moves at lightning speed, right?
Yeah, right.
I still remember how shocked I was when I heard that USC and UCLA were coming to the Big Ten, and then literally 12 minutes later, we're going to throw Washington and Oregon in the mix too. I think the barometer to watch are the lawsuits with the ACC, right? Florida State and Virginia, and these schools are fighting against that grant of rights deal with the ESPN and all that. Once that blows up, once that first thread in the sweater gets pulled, Grandma's Christmas sweater is no good anymore, and it's going to be a shootout to see who lands where. I know the Big Ten is interested in like North Carolina and Virginia, but so is the SEC. What does Florida State do? Clemson's there, and then all the other schools, what are they going to do? It's going to be musical chairs, and everybody's going to scramble. So once you hear anything of those lawsuits involving Florida State and of course with Tennessee and all these others, or not Tennessee, but anyway, you know, when the lawsuits start happening and we start getting results, the ACC versus Florida, and they're countersuing each other, that's when the whole thing blows up, is what I'm trying to say.
It's going to be awesome when Syracuse versus Pitt is a Mountain West game. That's going to be fascinating. Can't wait for that. To keep it back into the Big Ten, as it stands right now, the teams that are currently in it. Hey, Michigan State, us Spartan fans are enjoying an offseason of optimism. We see the vision of Jonathan Smith early on, despite all the obstacles that he's had. But outside of East Lansing, what other team or teams are having just an extraordinary offseason? Like one's so good and so above their weight that even you're dropping your jaw over there.
Well, a couple of things have really caught my attention here in the offseason. Number one, it's Ryan Day loses one game and he's blowing everything up.
Yes.
I mean, Kyle McCord has one bad quarter, throws one interception in the fourth quarter, and he's exiled to Syracuse.
Yep.
And so Ryan Day's redoing everything. And then, Bill O'Brien coming over and now looking at Boston College. I mean, it's just he's trying to revamp everything. Now, one thing he has done, he has made an extra effort with his collective there at Ohio State to take every player who would be borderline, third or fourth round guys. I'm going to the NFL. Oh, maybe I can make a couple million and stay in Columbus one more year. He's keeping those guys. Now, I keep seeing ridiculous reports that Marvin Harrison's going to get 20 mil of nil money and come back. There's no way it's going to be that much.
Whoa.
But, I mean, if you're a first rounder, you got to go and you got to start your clock and your earnings in the NFL.
Wow.
But, those mid-round guys, they're staying. And so I think that was the goal for Ryan Day. And I think they'll be pretty formidable. Another school that kind of got my attention, maybe not in a positive way, but a negative way is, look, I don't know about you. I watched every Iowa football game there was because it was the wreck on the side of the road you had to see.
Yeah, right.
The defense was incredible. The special teams were first rate and they had no offense. And this, the Brian Ferentz story and everything. And so bringing in Tim Lester now as the offensive coordinator, I was very concerned or very interested to see who was going to be the offensive coordinator for this team. Because, I mean, what is it going to be a big shakeup? Are they going to start, airing it out at Iowa?
Right.
No.
Right.
Tim Lester has a pretty unremarkable record as an offensive guy, a former Western Michigan guy. I think it's going to be more of the same. They didn't recruit any wide receivers that I can see. They got they got a quarterback and Cade McNamara. They got Luke Lachey, their tight ends coming back. And that's it. It's as Iowa football, quarterback, tight end, and hold you with defense. Yeah. I think it's going to be more of the same. So those are the two schools that really kind of caught my attention. Obviously, Michigan's in your face all the time.
Right.
Look, they're going to take a step back. And that doesn't mean they're not going to be good. They're not going to be 15-0 again. I don't think there's any way they can be. And so people will look at that maybe as a step. If Sharon Moore only wins 12 games instead of 15, are the people going to be all upset? I don't know. But those schools have been the ones that I've been focused on my podcast because they've been getting my attention a lot.
No kidding. And of course, here in the state of Michigan, it's impossible to not just look down the road and see what's happening at Michigan. But yeah, it's just safe to say that they're not going to get any better. They quite literally can't 15-0. But I'm just surprised and amazed at the exodus of coaches there. Maybe they see the writing on the walls if something from the NCAA is coming down the pike, or, just like we talked about a few minutes ago, NFL jobs are largely better and more enjoyable than college jobs too. So it could be some combination of those, but yeah, it's just fascinating to see it all fall apart, I guess, even though, again, I do expect them to be a fine team. I'm not being a hater over here, but yeah, that's puzzling. Almost as puzzling as hiring Tim Lester to be your splash offensive coordinator hire. One more question to get you out the door here. Who has a higher salary pool? Is it the Cleveland Browns or is it Ohio State? Because the money that they have to be spending on these guys, transfers where guys are already in house, we got to be coming up in the luxury tax here, don't we? This is incredible what they're doing.
I think Rick Pitino said this week, and of all people you want to talk about the NCAA with.
Sure.
He says there's got to be a salary cap now in college athletics.
Yeah.
He might not be wrong. I don't know.
I know.
We've got to level the playing field somehow, I think. Or is it just business? If you're better at what you do and you get more money, you can have a better team. I don't think fans always want to watch a sport where, it's always the best team money can buy. I think it should be level a little bit to some extent. I don't have the answer, but we do need some kind of guru in charge, a commissioner of some sort. But the commissioner is going to be the Big Ten SEC commissioner. They're going to decide. Whatever they decide will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, you could spend another 20 minutes just talking about that and how that all gets ironed out. But Hey, until then, if we ever do get to that topic when we have you back on the show here, Craig, if we could drag you back on here in the future, I don't want to be presumptuous here, but really do appreciate your time. This was great. Gang, we're going to be back in a hot second. We're going to talk this weekend's Illinois basketball game at Breslin Center. But hey, that's Craig Sheehan, locked on Big Ten. Go enjoy the rest of your week, Craig. That was sensational. Thank you very much.
You betcha. Really
quick before we get to the Illinois game coming up this Saturday at 2 p.m., football news broke late on Wednesday. Prairie View A&M, of course, the household name Prairie View A&M. They are the Week 3 opponent for Michigan State. Now, a lot of us remember that game was supposed to be against Louisiana. They canceled. They went with another school. They left us just behind, lonely and cold, looking for a Week 3 opponent. And when that happened, I know that some people out there said, well, hey, try to schedule Oregon State, or they threw around some teams like CMU, get some revenge for the Connor Stallions thing. No. Here on this show, we said, Alan Haller, hey, bud, here's the assignment. Get the worst team that you could possibly find out there. See if St. Clair High School is available for September 14th to come to Spartan Stadium. The schedule is already hard enough. This Week 3 game is scheduled between a road game at Maryland and a road game at Boston College. Why? Oh, why would you go even with a group of 5 school? Go down as low on the rung as you possibly can. He did a pretty good job on this assignment. Prairie View A&M, we're not going to break down their whole team, returning starters or anything like that, but let's just do a quick overview of them right now. Last year, the Panthers went 6-6. They were 6-2 in the SWAC, and they did play a Power 5 team last year. They faced SMU. The score, 42-0. Oh, wait, that was the halftime score against the Mustangs. The final score was 69-0 against SMU. Just to give you a quick idea of what we can expect in Week 3 of this upcoming year. Now, last year, they also lost 45-7 against Florida A&M, 30-0 against Houston Christian, and 45-16 against Abilene Christian. The only other time since COVID that they played a Power 5 team was 2021. They took on Texas A&M. They lost 52-3. That game was 38-0 at half. So we're looking for an easy win in Week 3, and there was never a doubt that that's who the opponent would be here. I mean, just going down to a HBCU run, an FCS run, really just as close to Division II as you could possibly get. Give them a nice check. I can only imagine this is going to fund a lot of great things for Prairie View A&M. So yes, Alan Haller, he knocked it out of the park. He understood the assignment. Just get the easiest team in here for a stress-free game in Week 3. Hopefully we can see Tommy Schuster whip a touchdown pass somewhere out there. So, yeah, there is the news for the scheduling. Finally have a Week 3 opponent. Now, let's talk about this weekend's basketball game, which, of course, just like all of them do in February, has some importance to it, specifically when it comes to bubble talk for us. Now, I will get ahead of this right now. BartTorvik.com, the computers, they have you as a 3-point favorite. 75-72 is the projected victory right now. How on earth do the computers see that? Let's try to just humanly analyze what the computers are seeing right now out of a team that really has struggled this season mightily, except at home and except on defense. Yeah, that's right. We're going to try some optimism here for the next few minutes when it comes to talking about Michigan State basketball, really stepping outside of our comfort zone here. But the defense for Michigan State has been extraordinary so far this season. 12 conference games so far for Michigan State. 10 of those 12 games, they are holding their opponents under their scoring average. And actually, in 8 of those cases, it's pretty drastic. 8 conference games, they are holding their opponents more than 9 points below their season average. Many of these are a full double digits under their scoring average so far this season. So this could be the recipe for the win on Saturday, is the defense for Michigan State, which, by the way, has protected home court pretty well so far this season since the James Madison game to start the season. Now, when it comes to defense, this is going to be a little different than the last game. Terrence Shannon has not played in that game against Michigan State when we lost in Champaign, but he is back for this one. 6'6", one of the best players, not just in the conference, but the whole country. has been doing solid since his return. He's played 5 games since his return, and he is shooting just 7 of 31 from 3 since his return. That's 22%. Still averaging 16.2 points per game, but the 6'6" wing, hey, this is where Michigan State makes their hay. Wing defense. Could it be Akins on him? Will it be Hoggard on him? It's probably going to be some combination of both. Would not be surprised, even though he's given up about 6 inches here. Would not be surprised to see Tyson Walker in the mix on Terrence Shannon too. Just throw the whole kitchen sink at him. Keep giving him different looks. Yes, there are different players you have to worry about, like Coleman Hawkins, who daggered Michigan State in the last game. Can hypothesize that will probably be Malik Hall on him. I'm sure they'll throw Mani Sissoko on him every once in a while. But yes, the storyline of this game is going to be, hey, Terrence Shannon is actually playing in this one. And the second storyline is, guys, the lights are flickering on and off here. It is about to be 2 a.m. It's last call. It is last call for quad 1 wins in the regular season. This will be a quad 1 win for Michigan State, who, by the way, only has 2 of those right now. The Baylor game and then the Indiana State game. Indiana State, right now, they're number 22 in the net. They're inside that top 30 threshold that they have to be in if it's a home game, because that's what makes a quad 1 win at home, within the top 30. So that's your only 2 quad 1 wins right now. This would be a quad 1 win. And yes, I understand that you do play at Purdue. That's like, excuse me for being a Debbie Downer here. You're not winning that game. So this is the last call to get a third quad 1 win on the schedule before the Big Ten tournament starts. Now, could you pick another one up in the Big Ten tournament? Say against, well, Illinois if you do see them, Wisconsin if you see them. Nebraska and Northwestern are just on the outside of the top 50 because neutral court games. It has to be in the top 50 to be a quad 1 win. Maybe. I wouldn't necessarily count on it, but this is the last call for a good quad 1 win. And right now, on bracketology, we're going to 131 Sports, local Michigan-grown bracketologist, also one of the best year in and year out. Before this game tips off, he has Michigan State as a 9 seed. So yes, on the bubble, but certainly on the correct side of the bubble. Joe Lunardi, he came out with a tweet today. He listed his top 4 seeds and then the last 4 buys, the first 4 games. Michigan State isn't even in the last 4 buys or in the first 4. Like they are still on the correct side of the bubble. A loss here wouldn't sink them out of the tournament. It would just really put them against the ropes, and they would have to, well, kind of perfectly sweep the games they are favored in the rest of the season, which some of those are on the road. We've seen how this team plays on the road, and it ain't good. So, yes, this is going to be an important game here. I know that we are just fed up with this team. We're sick of this team. We're just ready to turn the chapter, some of us out there in Spartan Nation. But, yeah, I'll come crawling back with as much emotional investment for this one as I've had throughout the entire year, probably like you guys will too. Again, Michigan State favored by 3 per the computers. They need this one. They need this one, especially at home. So let's just all close our eyes, hold our hands, and just go into this storm together, guys. We got this. Won't be the only fun game. Also, this Saturday, the hockey team will be taking on Michigan at Little Caesars Arena, the duel in the D at 8:30 p.m. on Big Ten Network. They play on Friday night against Michigan. If you want some more in-depth hockey talk, we had Jeremy Dewar on yesterday's show in the 3rd segment to talk about this weekend, how close Michigan State truly is to a Big Ten title, players to watch. So another great hockey chat with our friend Jeremy Dewar. Now, Spartan friends, Spartan family, we will be back this weekend, either Saturday after the game if it goes well, or Sunday. At some point this weekend, we will be back. Locked on Spartans, your team in green and white. Go enjoy your weekend. I truly love every single one of you. You guys are truly the best. Love you all. Go green.